forced stealth is one of the most aggravating things in a game for me. When you force me to be stealthy, I don't like it.
I know.
Especially especially if your whole game is presented um as having open choice, as you having complete agency, and then you say, oh well, you have to do stealth. Hello and welcome to level 124 of your Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with both takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy. Here is my compadre, David.
What up?
What up? How's your evening going?
It's going all right. I almost said hello. I almost just screwed that up.
You almost did. It would have been...
It's going strong. I think it was like episode level 3 where I said something different, and they're like,
Maybe.
nah, you got to go back.
Yeah. No, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's true. You did something else. We were like, nah, it doesn't quite fit. Go back to the other one. Yeah.
I'm doing all right. It's been quite a day. How about you?
I'm doing all right. It has been quite a day. It's dreary. It's wet.
Yeah,
The
first
sun-
like actual chilly day
Yeah, the
in
sun.
the afternoon of all time.
Mm-hmm. The sun choosing this time of year. The sun chooses to die at 3 p.m. And it just sucks.
It's gross.
Mm-hmm. It's terrible. Hopefully, the ladies, gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens that listen to our pod. Hopefully, you're in some place. I mean, we know by the demographics, you all are mostly in the Midwest like us, so you're also dealing with an early sun death on a daily basis and other things. But we hope you're having a nice day today, as whenever you listen to this level of the pod. Yeah, we got a couple of good topics on the docket, but I say we hop right in. We hop right into this.
Like a bunny.
Alrighty. And well, I guess like a bunny, we're gonna hop into our first segment, which is us talking about the games that we're playing. I can lead off first with this segment, and then if you want to go ahead and shout out what you're playing.
Sure, yeah. What you got?
So I think maybe on the last one I talked about how I had maybe beat the Outer Worlds, and I am now playing Jedi Fallen Order. That's pretty much where I'm at. I'm in the same place. I have not progressed a lot in Fallen Order. I have played a little bit, but I played some Fallen Order, and just mostly been like really trying to figure out what else I want to play in addition to that. Like trying to see what the next game is going to be, or if I want to play something with it. I've said before, and I'll probably keep saying, I'd really like to jump into Big Ambitions again and start playing that. You know what I'm saying? I set up my Zhong's flower shop. I was setting up my Zhong's liquor store. I really like to get back to being Zhong, but I don't know if that's going to happen soon. It just depends on how I'm feeling. But in the interim of not being Zhong, I'm being Cal. That's his name. Jedi Fallen Order. I am Cal, so that's what I'm doing right now. Just playing that, trying to get through that. I think I'll be able to beat that. I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to knock through that game.
Do you know the time length of it? About?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I will admit that however long it actually is, it's probably going to feel longer because navigating that game regularly puts me in a rage, which is also why it's taking a little bit longer for me to get through it. I just default to a state of anger as I'm going through it. So it's probably feeling way longer. Something that takes 5 minutes probably feels like it's taking me 20 minutes because it's 5 minutes of anger. But that's that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So playing that, I'm trying to think if I've dabbled a little bit into anything else. I haven't. It's mostly been that, and I've been playing on my Xbox Series X. I haven't really played anything on my PC since Expeditions Rome. So,
wow.
Gonna have to explore getting back into the PC. I don't know if I mentioned this maybe a few levels ago. I did find my Steam Deck.
Yes, I remember.
I have it fully charged. It's been fully charged for a couple of weeks. I don't know if the battery's maybe dead again. I don't know how the battery on that thing works. It seems like it dies all the time. But if I do fire it up, and I've been thinking about possibly firing it up, the game that I was playing on it was Shadow of War. So I might default back to playing that, trying to knock that out. But Shadow of War is a 40 to 60 hour game. So I don't know if I want to jump right back into that.
Right. Maybe something to dabble in, maybe.
Yeah. Or I might try to download it. It's on Game Pass. I might try to download it again on Xbox and see if I can salvage the game that I played of it originally, because I was near the end of the game when I
That's
gave up on
possible.
it before. So if I can do that, then hey, knocked it out. Ain't got to do that. Can play something else. But that's pretty much it for what I'm playing. It's just Jedi Fallen Order so far.
Okay. For me, it's quite the usual.
Hmm.
All right. Got some Apex going, got the finals going, and with the finals, all I pretty much do is play the competitive mode. It's called like World Tour.
Okay.
And in the bottom left, when you're on like the home page of the World Tour or whatever, it shows you like what rank you are, and like it shows the top 5 people. And I guess not a lot of people play it because I don't play it too often, but at least probably maybe 10 hours a week. And
Okay.
I'm ranked like 73,000. So, I mean, that, feels pretty good. I'm like, oh man. And all it is it's about how much cash you collect in the game mode, and it just kind of builds up. So it is essentially the more you play, the higher you're going to get, you know.
Hmm.
Still feels pretty cool. But I have a new game I've been playing, Pokemon trading card game Pocket. It's
Okay.
quite fun. It is pretty easy. It's straightforward. It kind of sucks in the beginning because what it's mostly about is fighting your deck with someone else's deck, and
Hmm.
if you're playing against somebody that put in the money, you're gonna just get decked. I've probably played 20, 30 games, and I've
Okay.
won like 5.
Okay.
So it's rough out here, people.
Yeah.
But
That's
getting that collection going. I have like 100 cards out of 226. So
okay.
we're getting there. And it's like the rarities are of course in there. There's like a 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. There's like
Yeah.
a crown one where the card is just all gold. And there's like the full art stuff like that. So I mean it looks really cool. And the way that the game is played is actually a lot better than the original way that the cards are made. So that
Okay.
makes it more fun. And then
So, so is there
yeah,
like a high tier, like can you get a gold or a crown tier magic card and just completely own someone that has like, I don't know, a Blastoise? I don't know, just as
I
reference.
so right now I was looking at the card list today of all days. So fortunately I do know the answer. The only gold cards I have right now is a Pikachu, a Charizard, and a Mewtwo. And those are actually the 3
Mm.
different packs that you can open.
Okay.
And out of the 226, it's kind of divided in between the 3 into the different packs. So I open up the Charizard pack. I can, of course, I can get a Charizard, and I can get whatever else is in that set. And then the Pikachu, I can get like the Pikachu, I can get like a Venusaur, Nidoking, or like that. And the Mewtwo is like the Mewtwo and the Blastoise and stuff like that. So they just kind of separated them into there. And you can open a pack every 12 hours unless you have these little things that you can collect, and you can bring it down to 0 to open it. So that's pretty
Okay.
cool. Um, Another game that I started to play that's also new is
It's a real adventurous episode so far.
I I'll give you one guess.
Okay, give me a clue first. Give me a clue before I get the guess. I feel
It
confident.
it's been here before, but it's been a very long time.
Been here before a very long time. Okay, now I have less confidence. I am going to go with I'm Alan Wake 2.
Ooh, close. It's Cyberpunk.
Ah, you finally did it,
I
huh?
did, and I'll give you guys the reason why.
Okay.
Steam went down yesterday, and I couldn't play anything. And that little icon was just staring into my soul. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
now is the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I made my character. I picked the same thing I did last time. It was like the street chaser, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I played for about an hour, and that's including putting my person together. So that was a good, 15, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot how good that game looks.
Yeah. Looks really good. Looks really
So
good
it
if you're next gen PC, it looks amazing. If you're the other one, it looks like a potato. But
That very true, very true. I
yeah,
do got me a 480, so
yeah.
it looks pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I opened it and I made my character, I got like the first part of the game done, like the first story. It's now in my psych. So now I'll be more willing to open it up.
Okay,
So let's see
okay.
how
So
well that keeps it open, though.
it's the possibility that you are bringing in and incorporating a single player RPG
Isn't that crazy?
into your role. It is a crazy statement to describe that game and say that David's playing it. Yep,
Yeah.
that's a pretty crazy union right there. But hey, you know
Yeah.
what? You've been saying for weeks that game's been teasing you and that you've been
Yeah.
thinking it, and it's
Yeah.
been the itch has been growing and growing and growing. Eventually, it's going to happen.
And here it is. But
Yeah,
that's what I've been playing.
nice, nice. I can't remember if I've ever described having a game like that where the itch kept growing on me. I'm pretty sure I might have had one, but I've always had the itch of buying games. I'll say for several weeks. I've been thinking about, for instance, the game that I had the itch for several weeks to buy, Project Hospital, that I
Mhm.
have not played yet. I haven't installed it or anything, but I could not stop thinking about buying that game for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Uh,
Yeah, have that
I've been
happen all
there.
the time.
I couldn't wait for the day for Mirror's Edge 2 to come out, and then I never even played it.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, happens all the time.
It does, unfortunately.
All right, well, let's head into some topics now. You've got a topic that kind of jumps or leapfrogs off of you talking about Pokemon TCG. I don't know if you want to go into yours or
Yeah, we can do mine.
okay.
All right. So before the pod, we were talking about topics and stuff, and I wanted to bring in about free to play games. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's tons of them, right? And all of them just want your money,
Yes.
right? Excessively. They
Mm-hmm.
just said, look, all this cool stuff you can have if you give me your money.
If you
Now,
can, if yep.
we were just talking about it. The Pokemon TCG Pocket has only been out for 3 weeks, and it made $128 million already. Okay, that's
Massive
like
amounts of money.
$6.8 million a day is what it's averaging. Okay,
And they say we're in a global recession.
tell me about it. Absolutely absurd, though. Okay,
Mm.
I plan on not spending any money on this game. I haven't spent money on a game for a while
Yeah.
that I didn't have to actually just straight up pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking, all these free to play games. If you had the extra income and you wanted to solely pick on one game and get really into it, what game would you spend the money on?
Hmm. Free to play. If there was a game I could choose free to play to really get into and spend the money on. Um. Hmm. Well, that's a tough question for me to answer because I'd have to really think about all the different games out there. Um.
Do you want me to throw out an answer while you think about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this might even help you because I'm thinking out loud here. Free to play games, you want to spend your money wisely, at least most of the time. And, being a huge Apex player, and I have dumped quite a bit amount of money into Apex, it literally does not help you whatsoever at all, right? So for me, you can kind of throw those kind of games out the window. So Apex, Fortnite, the finals, TFT, whatever. Now, I would put it into a game like Pokemon TCG Pocket because you unlock the packs, and the packs give you the cards you don't have. And the more cards you open, the more likely you're to get the really good cards, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, out of all the games I play, it would have to be either Pokemon Pocket or Pokemon Go.
Okay. I see that. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And I hate that they're both Pokemon, but they just both keep my attention very well.
I feel that.
Pokemon has enough money.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Um. All right, looking at some of the options here, I had to just reacquaint myself with some of these free to play options because they ebb and flow sometimes. So I got about three that I would maybe do.
Okay.
Um, One, yeah. So one of them is going to be a game that I put a lot of time into before. I can't remember if I actually ever even gave them money before. I don't think I did, but I would be willing to, and that is Warframe, as being the first one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
There's just so much content. They have again those, like I talked about, those like prime exo suits, whatever you want to call them, that are like cool gold and a whole bunch of customization you can do, which looks really awesome. But again, I just kind of like that the developers focus, at least it was at the time. And I have not played Warframe in a minute. I thought about jumping back into it when I first got my Steam Deck. I might still jump into it with my Steam Deck because that's where I first started playing. It was on Steam, but I kind of like their idea of them really trying to give their players value for their time and their money. So I feel like that
Hmm.
would be an investment well spent. I played that game for 40-ish, actually more than 40 hours. I think when I looked at it, I think it said I had about the equivalent of 6 days of time into it, which is
Oh,
more
wow.
than 40 hours.
Oh, for sure.
That's probably 150
That's
hours or something
yeah, I
like
was gonna
that.
say just to do a crapshoot 6 times 20 is 120.
Yeah. So this is a game that I put over 100 hours into and I never spent a dime. So I think that I would be willing to give them some money to get those prime suits, do different things like that, get better weapons, access to different areas, more
Hmm.
premium
Hmm.
content. It seems like it's worth it for that.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. That's one. The other one have a little bit more shame with well, I have one that's less shame, and then I have one that's also more shame. So let me go with this one that have a little bit less shame, and that's Rocket League. um Rocket League was at one point a game you paid for, and then it went free to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is just so fun, and it's so dynamic, and there's so many cool things you can do with it, and the community on it, it's a pretty decent community. So I'd be willing to give them some bucks.
You don't hear that too often.
Oh yeah, for Rocket League, I feel like it's you don't hear a lot of people actually talk about Rocket League anymore, even though it still has a huge player base. So I feel like it's almost kind of like Minecraft, where no one really talks about Minecraft, but it's just nothing but it's just a bunch of people playing Minecraft all the time. You know?
Oh yeah. It's just, they're just those kind of games that might have died down like a little bit, but they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And then I can give my third one that I would give money to would probably be Bungie's Destiny. Okay. Um,
You sound like so upset about it.
it's just I don't really like what the developer's done so far, but I really enjoyed Destiny 2. That's what I really played from the onset. I kind of came in on the back end of the first Destiny, but was there with Destiny 2 from launch and going forward. Um, I it look it, they put they put work into that game. They try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some stuff is stupid, but at least they try. Um, it's not going to be something like PUBG where they're stupid and they don't try. You know what I'm
Just
saying? Like they stupid and it may be some dumb decisions, but they at least try. The game world is interesting. The shooting mechanics, it's AAA shooting mechanics. They make some of the best feeling shooting in games. It just is what it is. It's you can feel however you want to feel about them, but they do something exceptional, and that's what you're paying
yeah.
for.
I
So I would give them money for that.
I know I played one of them. I don't remember which one it was. It was free on whatever
Hmm.
service it was on. I can't even remember, but I remember that the gunplay about it was pretty good.
Yeah, really good
It
gunplay.
wasn't choppy and it wasn't hard or anything like that. It
Hmm.
was straightforward, nice and easy, smooth.
Yep.
I'll take that any day.
Yep. The ADS scene is like really smooth and easy to kind of like anticipate where you might end up shooting at different stuff like that. Like, yeah,
Yeah, those are some good choices.
yeah.
I think that's it.
You think Pokemon for you? That's it. That's
Yeah,
all.
I could just dump money and get everything in Apex, that's always an option, I guess, but I just at this point I wouldn't feel good about it.
Right.
You know, at least with the Pokemons, I'm getting something out of it no matter what. You know, Pokemon Go, I'm getting storage space, I'm getting battle passes, I'm getting Pokemon space, you know,
Hmm.
and Pokemon Pocket, I'm getting more cards, better cards, more packs,
I do also think
etc.
it's something to be said for the fact that you have put so much time into Apex. If I
Hmm.
put 3,000 hours into Warframe, I wouldn't be giving them any money because I probably would have had a chance to get everything I wanted in that game by the amount of time that I invested in it, right?
Right.
I was missing like one or a couple of things in order to unlock a prime that I wanted. So if I would have, put 10 to 15 times more time, hours into it, I probably would have had that prime and another one. I was kind of working on a couple of them. So I don't think that'd be much of an issue. So I see that if you've played a game for that long, and then also you've played it that many hours for the amount of time it's been, you've seen the game evolve when they made really bad decisions and
Hmm.
the game was really bad, you stuck with it. You're almost kind of like, I feel like you owe me for still
Yeah,
playing your
that's you
stupid
owe me
game.
money at this
Yeah.
point.
So I'm not going to give you any more.
Ugh,
Yeah, I understand that completely.
good, good.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you got for your topic?
So my topic is kind of spurred on by a news article that I had peeked at, and it was about
Okay.
Ubisoft and Star Wars Outlaws. So, Star Wars Outlaws, I don't know if disaster is the right word. It has not been a positive for Ubisoft. Ubisoft expected more sales than they got because it's a Star Wars game, and apparently Ubisoft never got the memo that Star Wars is dying. But apparently, yeah, they he didn't do as well, and there's some aspects of the game that weren't liked, and I guess one of those aspects that they're kind of toning down on is going to be the stealth, the forced stealth within games, or within that game. Now, I personally, forced stealth is one of the most aggravating things in a game for me. When you force me to be stealthy, I don't like it,
I know.
especially if
Yeah.
you especially if your whole game is presented um as having open choice, as you having complete agency, and then you say, oh well, you have to do stealth. It's one of the gripes I kind of had with it's not really a gripe, but it was one thing that I was concerned about when I started playing Ghost of Tsushima,
Hmm.
because eventually you have to become the ghost, right? So they kind of force you into some stealth situations in the beginning, but that's just so you can learn the stealth mechanics. Eventually, you can choose the stealth, or you can choose to walk in there and have to kill 70 people. And of course, I'm killing 70 people every
That's
time.
every time.
Every time I'm killing 70
It's
people,
more
sometimes
fun.
80. Um, but they've decided to go back retroactively after the game and essentially remove those forced stealth sections in the game, which had me thinking,
Wow.
have there ever been games that you played or that you either wanted or that you've played before where there was a certain mechanic or a certain gameplay loop in the game that you wanted the developers to remove for you, or if they went in and actually removed a game that you were playing and you're like, ah, this made the experience so much better. um I can offer one game at first, and I want to kind of hear, a game or two that you have, but
Okay.
because it goes along the same lines of forced stealth. That game for me is Marvel's Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 2018.
Oh.
I've talked on this podcast
Hmm.
and had several conversations with you and Corey about how I don't like the forced stealth. They put Mary Jane in there. They say you got to do stealth and different things like that. I don't want to do that. I want to be Spider-Man. I want to swing around and I want to kick and punch. And that's what I want to do, right? So I would love if they said, "Hey, we're going back and removing the forced stealth." I would be like, "Okay, great. I've already beat Spider-Man Miles Morales. I didn't play Marvel's Spider-Man 2 because Corey said, guess what? They brought those four stealth
That's
sections back." So I'm like, okay, well, I'm out on that.
yep.
If they remove it from the second one, I'll go play the second one right now. If they remove it from the first one, I'll go play the first one, right? But that's one game that I wish the developers will come in and remove that, because forced stealth is for the birds. It can kick rocks. It does not need to be in games. That sucks. Okay, so that's the first game. That's the first game for me.
That's a good choice. Like it should give you like the option, like you said in Ghost of Tsushima. You know, Like, because like when you're talking about stealth and stuff, like I kind of think like The Last of Us.
Hmm.
Understandable. You have to sneak around the clickers, okay?
Yeah.
Obviously, but when you have to like sneak around and try and choke out like the humans in the game, it's like, can I have a gun? Can I shoot them?
Right. And even with like the clickers, right? You can try to pass those levels without sneaking around the clickers. You're not going to be successful a lot, but you may luckily stumble into a run where you don't have to use stealth to get by a clicker, right? It's also
Right.
trying to it's also trying to it's part of the story, but it's also trying to build the lore thing, right? That clickers are lethal. They're just, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the
Right.
lore we're building with them. You don't mess with them like the other ones.
Exactly.
And you could say the same thing with Spider-Man. Hey, it's part of the story that you have to do this stealth part or whatever. But it's also like Joel and Ellie are just people, and clickers are clickers. I'm bleeping Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to
Why?
sneak
Why?
and do nothing. I don't
Yeah.
want to do none of that.
It's
I want to swing, kick, and punch. That's what I should be able to do. So that's the a little bit of the difference there. But like you said, like
right.
Last of Us is a good
Obviously.
example of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But my real game is Overwatch 2. I don't I don't know why, and many people don't know why they went to 5v5. And I know they put a lot of work into it and tried their best, which that's not saying much. It
Yeah.
is god awful playing tank in that game. You're the only tank, and you're most of the time just getting melted. Unless you have very good team syncrasy, that's who you get melted as the most. The most talk I saw, like negatively, was from tank players.
Yeah.
It's just the worst. So like if they just stopped doing that and just went back to the 6v6, that would have been great. I know that they brought Overwatch Classic out, didn't play it obviously because banned, and I can positively assume almost everybody was playing that game mode for at least a little bit because they miss it.
Yeah. And they wanted that 6v6 back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, sometimes even if they're making changes and you try to balance it as much as you can, do you think it was like a support server type thing as to why like it went 5v5? Like why would they reduce the player count by 2?
Right. I don't know. Like honestly, if I had to think about it, it was to have less people on the pro teams.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't
Yeah.
know if they spend money on that or lose money if they did that or
Yeah.
but that's all I could really think of.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good guess. It makes sense, kind of a little bit. You would say it that way.
Have
Yeah.
to pay less people.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
only need 2 tank players instead of 3,
Right.
just in
Exactly.
case you have to swap one out or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Um, that's a good one. The next one I have is a game that I mentioned I'm playing. That's Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, what does that got?
They need to go in there and remove this. I want to say completely. I'll just use kind words. They need to go in there and remove this dumbass navigation map thing they got going on because this thing sucks. Um, and again, it's one of the more frustrating elements of the game.
Mhm.
Besides the backtracking you have to do, that's frustrating all in itself. But I've played Tomb Raider, I've played Uncharted, I played other games. There's backtracking in them. I get it. Um, but it's just that you have to this map and the navigation is meaningless. It's almost useless to some extent. So I would much rather them just remove it and figure out some other system to put in there to help us navigate. Now, like again, from what I've read, they improve. That's one of the most improved things in a Jedi. What is it? Jedi Survivor. But I'm talking about Fallen Order. I'd like for them to go back into that game and fix it. Heck, make it like Survivors, like swap them out, make them work. You know what I'm saying? Do something like that, so that way I can actually navigate this. I'm not going to play Survivor unless I beat Fallen Order. So I would really appreciate if they did that. But that's something else that I would like to see removed removed and or possibly just improved upon, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Do you have another? I can't think of another game because usually I just kind of deal with it, and then
Hmm.
I've rotted
And you,
my brain with so much Apex. Like, there's
yeah.
so much stuff you could change in there, but I mean, like, it's nothing of a certain thing,
Sometimes
you
there's like,
know.
I understand where sometimes there's like
But
it's a quirk of the game, and you get so used to the quirk like being in the game that it's just part of the game. You don't really think about whether it could be removed or
right,
whatever to make.
there's so many changes in it. It's not even whether it's a part of a game or not. They go back and forth this season to that season, so
Yeah.
it's hard to think of something in a different game, spending so much time in that one.
Well, I've got two here a little bit different from just remove, because like
Okay.
in the case of the Ubisoft one, it's more remove. This is maybe revise and add.
Okay.
So, this next one is modify. I've talked about this before. The Guild 2. Developers, I would like if you made the pause button actually pause the game. You would be surprised how helpful that is. You would be surprised how helpful it is when you want to pause a game, that when you click pause, it actually pauses it. It's incredible.
So what does it
Um,
do? Does it just do nothing or just bring up a menu while it's still going?
when you push pause, it just slows it to the slowest speed ever. Nothing ever pauses. The game can't pause. You click pause, doesn't pause. It's almost. I mean, I don't know how helpful you would think. Think of it, David, as though you're running at full speed, and you decide that you want to stop, and so you go to stop, but you never stop. You just go as slow as possible. Is that helpful at all? Because that's not
No,
what you're
I mean
trying
I'm
to do.
trying to gather my energy
You're trying to stop,
and it just keeps going. It's
and
like,
you keep going.
please.
You keep going.
No, I don't want it.
I mean, just I don't know if no, I don't know if everyone understands the equation here, but if you're in motion and you don't want to be in motion, going in slower motion does not help stop motion. You're still in motion.
No, not
Doesn't it
even a
doesn't
little
achieve
bit.
anything. It does literally the antithesis of what you wanted to do. So I would like for the developers to solve for that in the Guild too. And then what I would like to be added. This is for I actually remember the other game now. So this is actually in for tactic games.
Okay.
So XCOM 2 has this thing where you can actually like customize every person that's in your army, squad, or whatever. You can give them a name, you can give them a country or a city or state of origin, and you can build their backstory, right? It's you can do the same thing with I forgot, like with like RimWorld. It's another thing you can kind of do that in, right? Because you can kind of role play as people play, and different stuff like that. However, these four tactics games, you have Empire of Sin, Valkyria Chronicles. Now I have I believe, remaster of maybe the original one. So Valkyria Chronicles, Expeditions Rome, and Gears Tactics. You
Ooh.
can't customize the names of any of your people in that. I feel like that is a lost opportunity. All these games, and this is the reason why, except for maybe Valkyria Chronicles, right? All these games came out after XCOM 2. So you saw how absolutely successful XCOM 2 was. Carry that over. That's a cool little nugget
Right.
to carry over that makes all these things cool. Because in Empire of Sin, you're going around, the recruit these gangsters, and it's like, yeah, Louis the Hat Mortentini. And you're like, I don't want this person to be, Lenny the Hat Mortentini. I want to name them Guy. You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
it's Rupert the Butcher Jones. It's like, I don't want to call this person Rupert the Butcher Jones. I want to call them Dwight Craig Schrute, right? That's why I want to name them these things, and I can't. You're not allowing me to. The same for Expeditions Rome. Um, you know, they already have these. In that game, they already have the Roman names, so their names are already crazy from our perspective. Their names are, Thaddeus, Perseus, Gludidius. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, well, come on now, this is absurd. You know what I'm saying? Like, can I just name him, Roger? You know what I'm saying? Can I just name this guy Derek? Why is this name Thoris Edius Stevenius? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, I get it, but also let me modify. So that's one
Right.
thing that I wish that developers would kind of keep in mind and like, hey, let's add these things to these games. Let's add customizable names, customizable maybe places of origin. You know what I'm saying? Empire of Sin. Maybe I want, a gangster that's like that, like has like a Haitian background. That'd be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
maybe that happens, but nope. It's all standard. I feel like for tactics games, you got to be able to have a little bit more of that customization. Because when you're playing XCOM 2 and you've got a squad, you named your squad after your family and your friends, you know what I'm saying? I think
Brings it in a little more.
it brings you in a little bit more. I think I remember hearing Corey talk about maybe he did that for, was it Darkest Dungeon? It was something,
Yes.
some game that he named after multiple people.
Yep.
He named multiple people in, and I think he said your character died and he was devastated.
Yeah.
Genuinely devastated. Like that's the type of thing. That's the kind of investment you want to make. You know what I'm saying? Like put some stakes into it more. If I could name them after people I know, friends and stuff like that, then it's like a little bit more of like, oh, check this out. I'm about to make David a level 4 rogue. He's going to be able to, his DPS is going to be crazy. Like that's cool. Rather than it just being some guy named, Noriel. All right.
All right.
All right. I guess, yeah.
Right. That's funny. I did think of another one.
Okay.
All right, so back to Pokemon. But the original kind of games, like Pokemon Red, Blue, and every other freaking color that they've made.
Yeah.
Eventually, they started doing this like IV training stuff. Now, supposedly, it was there in the shadows in like red and blue and yellow or whatever. But like when that started coming out, I think it was in black and stuff. That was the last one I played. That was just so much for me. So call me like old school or salty or whatever. Like go back to where it was just level the Pokemon up, have the Pokemon moves, and you fight.
There you go. You know what? I'll even do you one better. If you want to sound like old man curmudgeon when it comes to Pokemon, put colors back on those mofos. It used to be just like you said, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow,
Right.
Silver, Gold, Black, White, Emerald Green, Sapphire Red, Crystal, right? And all of a sudden it's, Pokemon X, Pokemon Y,
Right.
Pokemon Sword and
Sun,
Shield.
Moon, yeah, Sword
Sun,
and
Moon.
Shield, and
When do we start getting into items and elements? It's colors. Stick with the colors. Guess what, guys? There's a whole lot more colors. You can do Pokemon Teal, Pokemon Maroon,
do they
Pokemon
know
Sage.
there's like a 120 count box of Crayola crayons, man.
Exactly. They ain't even touch
Pokemon Dandelion.
They didn't use, of that 120 color box, they didn't use 6, maybe 8.
Exactly.
You got a whole another 110 some odd colors you can choose from. You know what I'm saying? They did Pokemon Black, you know what I'm saying? Pokemon Blackety Black. You know what I'm saying? It's make it like real, make it like your characters are like the Black Panther's equivalent of whatever you do in Pokemon, and they get in Pokemon to fight the power. You know what I'm saying? Come up with something. Use the colors. There's more colors there. And Pokemon Maroon. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel heard.
There you go. Yeah, I hear you. Well, that's the end of my topic. My topic out the way. That brings us near the end of the podcast episode. Final thoughts, where we can offer a final thought about anything related or unrelated to the podcast episode. So, who would like to give a final thought first?
I'll go.
All right.
So, going back to free-to-play games, wanting your freaking money, right?
Mm.
So, on Apex, they have the Battle Pass, right? Now, they split the Battle Pass in one season in the 2 parts. There's the first half and the second half. Now, you can buy the battle pass with the credits that are in the game, so you don't have to spend money, or you can get the battle pass plus or ultimate rather, and that is $10. You can't use credits, and you get a little bit more cool stuff. And then there's the ultimate plus, to where it's $20 and you get a little bit more cooler stuff.
Mm.
It's like, why? Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
are, even if people buy the original battle pass, it's 950 credits, which is $10, right? And so even if half the people that get the battle pass spend their money instead of using the credits, that is still thousands and thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Right.
Okay? So why do you have to do an ultimate and an ultimate plus? That's $20 every month and a half.
And the people will do it. Like you said,
They
128
do.
mil and
Like, I don't
and
even get the battle pass anymore. I have some credits. I can get the free one technically, and I don't. I'm just like, I don't care at this point.
yeah,
That's my final thought.
it's crazy. And it was how much for 950 credits?
It it's $10 for 950.
Okay. So
So the one that's 950 and the one that's 10 is technically the same price. Just the one you get more, and they get your money instead of the credits.
gotcha. Okay. So that's kind of like where they a little differentiation there to make it a little bit make one seem a little bit more worthwhile than the other one. You know.
Right. It I guess the credit one is kind of like using a gift card at the store that you were given. They already
Hmm.
have that money. They don't want that money. They want more money. So even though
Yeah.
it costs the same, use the real money and we'll give you a nice little cool skin.
Yeah. They want your money to convert into their theoretical money. They really don't want the theoretical money because even they know that theoretical money has no real value. But your real money sure does.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why we have it set up that way. It's interesting like in like instances like that, they're already telling you they're giving you the end on what they're doing. They're already showing their hand and they don't even know it. Some people don't even catch on to it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's like yeah, it's insane. Um My final thought is actually based off of a news article you shared with me,
Okay, okay.
which is that Sony is looking to acquire is the parent company called Kodokawa or
Something I
Kudakawa.
forget the
Um,
the parent company of the Soul games.
yes, parent company of the Soul games. Sony is looking to possibly
Kodokawa, you're right.
Kodokawa. Okay, they're looking to acquire it, and with it, all their IPs, including From Software. Or I'm assuming all their IPs and companies, one of the which is From Software, who makes all the Souls and whatever games, right? Acclaimed, esteemed developer. Recently, the developer of Elden Ring, which I think had some other DLC come out not too long ago. Um, Here's what I will say about that. That's smart. I personally, even though every From Software game that I own is for Xbox, I've always associated From Software with PlayStation.
Interesting.
Especially when I think of like going back to like the Armored Core games. I always played Armored Core on my PlayStation. I've just kind of always associated From Software with PlayStation. So that would be a smart move by PlayStation to kind of I think acquire a good asset, but also take advantage of some synergy or some perceived synergy that's already there. So yeah,
Right.
I think that's smart on them. And the fact that I don't know if it's going to come out whether Xbox was in on that possibly or not, but it once again shows Xbox's inability to forge constructive relationships with Japanese developers. Um, so that's something else they got to work on.
Right. I hope if it does follow through and they do buy them, that they don't start putting their own mess into it, too many cooks in the kitchen kind of scenario. Like, it's apparent that they're doing a very good job with their games. There is a huge cult following behind their type of games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Sony to mess that up.
Oh, you have a
Just
nice
buy it, get some of their money, and that's it.
have a nice Sony's like has another Concord from Software Edition, right?
Exactly.
Like, hey, you guys make great games, and Elden Ring is so big and great. Have you guys ever thought about making an always online multiplayer game and like the same method? I can see them thinking about that, especially since like a lot of the Souls games have elements of multiplayer in them, right? People can like virtual in, phase in, and stuff like that.
Right.
I might be like, hey, have you ever thought about doing like a 12v12 or a 24v24 version of that in this world? And hopefully from software, it's like, no, we haven't because that's dumb. Please stop talking to us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Only time will tell.
It always does.
That brings us to the end of level 124 of the Thoughts and Player podcast. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and follow the podcast on the socials like Facebook and Twitter and X and on Insta and different stuff like that. Also, you can like, follow, and share and listen to the podcast on a variation of podcast services and platforms. You got your Apple Podcasts, your Overcast, you've got Spotify, you've got whatever Google's doing, YouTube Music, stuff like that, I guess. Also, if you want to support the podcast, there's a couple ways you can do it. One, merch. I had my shirt on last level, but I have my water bottle here with my stickers. Right? We got stickers at our Teespring store. That's just some other company, but these two stickers are ours. You can get those stickers as well as hats, shirts, bunch of different things, cups, all that type of stuff, phone cases. Check us out there. And also, if you want to support us on the monthly, we do have a Patreon. We have 3 tiers, $2, $5, and $7 tier, each offering different bits and goodies and exclusive content. I've said it before. It is going to be there eventually. Just got to finish doing it. Next couple of episodes of Game Dev Tycoon coming up there. Soon we'll be having the review for Expeditions Rome. It's written, just needs to be recorded and edited and put out there. But that's going to be coming soon. So yeah, we got some stuff coming out there. But that is it for me. David, is there anything else you want to add?
Peace.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next level.